See, I even ask questions that you haven't thought of it yet. I'm posing a question. Many people say, don't Muslims know this? The answer is yes and no. The majority of the world of Islam does not come from Arabic-based background. About 70% of the Muslim population around the world is not Arab-based. But Islam traditionally is dictating that you have to do your supplication and your prayers in Arabic, even if you don't understand it. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, it sounds
Did the
familiar.
Christian church go through a similar phase? 1,200 of it. 1,200 years of you do things in Latin or else God is going to punish you. History is repeating itself. Now, check this out. Remember this morning I talked about I was in a mosque and the imam of the mosque said, it's only you guys that do what this Bible says. During the lunchtime, I was sitting across a Indonesian woman diplomat. It was an honor. She was so elegant, so informed, so educated, it was incredible. So we're having a discussion, we're eating lunch, and then the talk came that a devout Muslim should pray 5 times a day. And she was telling me that she's on the plane almost every other day. So I kind of got a little cocky, with your permission. I said, then how do you pray 5 times a day? She kind of chuckled. She said, I don't pray 5 times a day. 3 is the best I can do. I said, what language do you do your prayers? She said, Arabic, of course. I said, do you understand Arabic? And our Turkish friend was sitting next to us and he was here. And he came to the rescue. He kind of barged in, stuck his head in, and he turned to this Indonesian woman and he said, my sister, we're supposed to know Arabic. It's our religion. You have to know. I bet you he didn't speak a lick of Arabic himself. Because of his accent, I could tell. You're supposed to do Arabic. She got ticked off. You don't want to take off a woman, much less a diplomat, you know? So she kind of took this post, and she said, what? I'm 56 years of age. You want me to learn a new language? No thanks. God understands Arabic. I don't need to understand it. It's fine with me. And I'm looking at history repeating itself. You know, French philosopher Blaise Pascal, perhaps one of the genius of all philosophy and maths and all that, he has very famous quotes. Pascal says, history teaches us one thing, that we never learn anything from history. This is the same dark ages that the church, hear me out, God used the descendants of Ishmael to help the church to discover the Bible and maintain its faith on the Bible. And so we got out of the dark ages. Guess what? The descendants of Ishmael are going through their dark age. Guess who needs to pay his debt back? Let me tell you about Allah. Many people are asking, is the God of the Muslims the same God of the Christians? My answer is yes. But let me explain. Let me explain. Half of me is, I don't know, maybe God has a sense of humor. I'm half Babylonian. My dad was a Russian, Assyrian Babylonian. Don't ask me how that happened, it just happened. So we learned Aramaic from dad. So we learned Aramaic from childhood. Who else do you know that spoke Aramaic? Jesus, right? Aramaic has hardly been any way modified because it's not used. Do you know, I'm going to answer this Allah dilemma in different angles. Do you know what was the word in Aramaic for God at the time of Jesus? That's Hebrew. Aramaic. Very close. The word for God in Aramaic at the time of Jesus and 1,000 years before Jesus was Allah. Allah. 4 centuries later, I've read manuscripts of Christians in Antioch 4 centuries after Jesus. You know what word they're using for God, Christians in Antioch after Jesus? Allah. How far is that from Allah?
It's not
That's
far.
one. Number 2, Muslims are using a biblical name for the Creator rather than we. Let me explain.
Yes, sure.
Let me explain. We, Christians, Westerners, are using a pagan divinity's name of the Norse and the Nordic gods, Gott or Gos. Germans are still using Gott, G-O-T-T. We are using an pagan adapted name for the Creator, whereas Muslims are using biblical names based on the prefix of El and Al. El Shabayot, Elohim, El Shaddai.
Amen.
Muslims are using a biblical name for God. We are using a pagan name for God.
Wow.
We call them
Shame.
pagans.
Shame. Shame on us.
Semantics. Semantics. No shame here. We want to learn. You have Hispanic speakers here in the audience, right? What is the word for God? How close is Dios to God? Anywhere near, right? We call them okay, but with people who, in their language, Arabic, the word for God is Allah, we call them pagans. It's their language. And the word they're using for God is Allah. And it is rooted in the Semitic Aramaic, Allah, which is biblical, and we are pointing the fingers at them. Third, you talk to any Muslim anywhere in the world. Who is Allah? Allah has 99 names in the Bible, in the Quran. None of those names contradicts the names that God has in the Bible. You ask an average Muslim, who is Allah? And I've done this for research purposes. Tell me who is Allah. And this is a description that a Muslim gives. Allah is the unseen, unsimilitude, almighty, powerful, creator, God, compassionate, merciful, judge, justice.
Same thing.
Which one of these contradicts the God of the Bible?
No.
So one of the things for us to remember is this. If you want to be fair all the way through.
Amen.
All right? We're talking many semantic, linguistic issues. But we have taken it upon ourselves to say, they're worshiping something else. They're worshiping a black rock. They're worshiping the moon. I'm sorry. Even the symbol of moon was not part of Islam. You know who introduced it? The Ottoman Empire. Muslims do not have a symbology, but it crept in. Guess who else has contributed to this perversion throughout the centuries? The Roman Church. But again, I will leave this for the last section. Up until here, again, I would like to reiterate, this is by no means exhaustive, but I'm trying to share as much possible for us to consider. Up until this point, regarding what I just shared, any questions? Questions?